What's up everyone, how are you all? Today we are back with another blazing Naruto story. What if Naruto is pregnant with Madara baby? If you enjoy then please like, share and do comments. And also check the description box to original creator of this beautiful creation. Naruto was deep asleep but then started to struggle under her covers. Her forehead was sweating. She was merely struggling but then started to thrash about in her sleep. Dream scene. Naruto looked very confused as she was looking at her surroundings. There was nothing but darkness, a room shrouded completely in a dark abyss with not a single ray of light in sight. She realized she was completely alone in the dark. Naruto didn't like to be alone, especially in the dark. And she hated to be alone in the dark. Kakashi-sensei, Sakura-chan, Ba-chan, Ero-senin, where are you? I don't want to be alone in the dark, said Naruto as she hugs her need. Then, she heard a sound. When looked up and she saw a dark-haired boy with a blue shirt with a fan in the back. Naruto realized it was Sasuke. Sasuke? Then Sasuke stared to walk away. Naruto got up and ran towards him. Sasuke. Wait. Naruto ran and ran, but somehow it was impossible to reach him. Sasuke disappeared in the darkness. Naruto stopped, as Sasuke was gone from her sight. Then, she remembered the Chidori that the Uchiha had implanted in her chest. Naruto placed her hand in chest where she was hurt by Sasuke's Chidori. I am a fool. Why I am following a guy that almost killed me? Asked Naruto herself. Then, Naruto heard dark chucks. Her eyes widened when she saw she was surrounded by men around of their 3 and 4 years. All their faces were covered by shadows, but Naruto knew no one of them had good intention. Naruto gasped in horror when she noticed that she was in her 8-year-old self and her hair was longer. Well, looks what we have here. The demon bitch herself, said one of the men. Why, we should teach her to never mess with our beloved village, said another one as he grabs Naruto by her hair. Naruto yelped as she was tackled to the ground as the men torn off her clothes. Naruto was too terrified to do something. The man vanished within the hair. But there was another shadow figure. He was wearing a black robe with red clouds, the same type that Itachi and Kisame were wearing when they tried to take her to their organization. Like those men before, this figure's face was also covered by a shadow. He was an Akatsuki. Pathetic, and you supposed to be the vessel of the strongest of the Biju, said the Akatsuki member. Who are you, Teme? Growled Naruto to the unknown Akatsuki. I am the pain of the war orphans, the pain of loss of the precious ones, the keeper of the pain that will change the world, the pain for a peaceful world, said the Akatsuki member. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise and horror when he saw the man summoning a type of golem statue. He was in the head of the statue as he made some hand signs. I am also the pain of the death. Naruto found herself being swallowed by chakra from the statue's month. All she could feel is pain. A lot of pain. Then she screamed. End of the dream scene. OGGH. No. Naruto screamed as she cried out and woke up. But she had got up so fast that she hit her forehead into something. Smack. Ouch. Itai. Naruto nursed her sore forehead as she saw that she hit the head of a boy in the room. He had long straight black hair that was pulled into a ponytail and dark eyes. He was wearing a red kimono with a fishnet underneath and his skin was a bit tanned and he looked like he was around of his 12 years. For some reason, she had a feeling that she had saw the boy somewhere. Thought she never remembered to see or meet a boy like this one before in Konoha. Ouch. My head. Are you okay? I heard you were trashing in your sleep so I came to check you. For a girl, you have a pretty hard head for a girl, said the dark-haired boy. That was enough for Naruto to punch the boy's face and sending him to the other side of the wall. The blonde whisked girl was definitely wondering what the hell was going on. The last thing she remembered was her fight with Sasuke at Valley of End in darkness. And now she was apparently in a room with a tanned boy saying she had a hard head. Then she blinked, she realized that tanned boy called her a girl. Naruto looked at herself and she saw she was wearing a white shirt and a white pants. That means she was changed while she was unconscious. Then, she noted there was a boy in the wall hole. He was around of his 1 or 11 years old. He had a wild silver hair and dark eyes. He was wearing a blue kimono with a fishnet underneath and unlike the other boy his skin was paled. Hey, you hit my Aniki? Naruto blushed and laughed and embarrassed as she scratched the back of her head. She looked confused when the boy gave her a thumb up to her in return. Nice going. You're the first girl that didn't fall in his charms. You just became my new best friend, said the silvered boy while he grinned. Naruto only could sweet drop. Naruto was now dressed in a simple orange kimono with dark blue patches, and a black sarong wrapped around her waist. She found out that her clothes were completely torn and the boy's mother gently gave her some of her old clothes. They were in the kitchen, drinking some tea while they talked to know each other. Sorry about early, apologized the dark-haired boy. My name is Senju Makuba, and this is my younger brother, Takimaru. Hello, said the silver-haired boy cheerful. You know, you're the very first girl I met that didn't fall in love for my brother's looks. And the very first girl with a real short hair. You looked a boy in your old clothes, even if they were torn off. That's the idea, baka, thought Naruto. I am Uzumaki Naruto, and where am I exactly? Asked Naruto as Takimaru gave her a cup of tea. Oh yeah, our bad, you're in the forest of Senju clan and I found you unconscious near of our woods, said Makuba. Then Naruto blinked for a moment as she drank her tea. Hey, wait a minute, that's not Ba-chan's clan name? Asked Naruto herself confused. Then Makuba took her out of her thoughts. Hey Naruto-san, where did you come from? I know you're not from here because of the clothes. They are very different. Are you outsider of Fire Country? Naruto blinked. Hun? But here is the Fire Country, isn't it? Both the boys nodded. Konoha is not very far away from here, is it? Now Makuba and Takimaru looked each other confused. Naruto didn't like the confused look on their faces. Sorry Naru-chan, we never heard about a place called Konoha. That's where you from? Asked Takimaru. Naruto's eye widened in surprise. How come they never heard Konoha, one of the strongest ninja villages in the Five Lands? Something was wrong, very wrong. And she needs to find out what is going on. Naruto excused herself, saying she needs some time alone. When she got out from the house, she realized she was in a treehouse, and there were other treehouses. Naruto used her chakra to climb down to the ground. After about 3 minutes, Naruto found a good place to meditate. She's not very into meditation, but she knew she had to do it in order to talk to Kyuubi, because Kyuubi might be the only one who could give answers she need. She closed her eyes as she did a meditation pose. Naruto awoke in the familiar prison of the Kyuubi. She sat up and looked around only to find Kyuubi inside of the cage. Naruto looked at the fox and the fox in his usual grumpy self, but he was grumpier than before. Brat, sure you really messed around this time, growled Kyuubi at his vessel. Not only you lose to a trash of an Uchiha, but also, because of that attack, we're trapped in the past. What do you mean, in the past? Shouted Naruto confused as Kyuubi continued. Listen brat, and listen well because I will say it only once. Because of your attack and that brat Uchiha's attack, when they collided, their power fused and they formed a time vortex which you were sucked in. Explained Kyuubi. And now we're about 8 years in the past, a few years before Konoha is born by Shodem and Naidame Hokage. Naruto then realized something. If she was in the past, that would mean one thing. Senju Makuba and Senju Takimaru were Shodem and Naidame Hokage. Tsunade Baan grandfather and granduncle. That's why she felt they were familiar to her. They were the fathers of Konoha. This can't be happening to her. Kyuubi, is there a way to go back? Asked Naruto hopeful. Unfortunate, this is going to be hard. It's extremely rare the ones that have power over the space and time, not even I. The Biju King has the power over time and space. Needless to say, Naruto was shocked on what she just had heard from Kyuubi. He even had admitted that he doesn't have such power, even he's being the strongest of the tailed beasts. You mean, we're trapped here, shouted Naruto. And you can't do nothing about it. For now you're on your own, brat. And one more thing, try to keep everything from the future to yourself. Try to avoid to use Yondaime's techniques, because if you do, you might risking to change the timeline and changing the future you know. With that, Naruto returns to the real world with a lot to think about the situation she's in. Naruto was in the guest room, sitting in the bed as she hugging her knee while she was looking at the starry sky through the window next to her bed. She still can't believe she was trapped in the past with Shodem and Naidame around of her age and before Konoha was ever created. She sighed. She already missed home. Hey Naruto-san. Naruto turned around and she saw Makuba aka Shodem Hokage with a tray of cookies and a jar of milk. He placed the tray in the nightstand next to her bed. I brought some cookies and milk. I thought you might be hungry. You eat so little in the dinner. Is there anything bothering you? Asked Makuba, worried with the blonde girl. A lot, admitted Naruto. But I can't tell them, at least not yet. I understand, Naruto-san. But if you need anything, you can count to me and Ototo. I can see from your eyes that you had been through a lot. You don't need face problems by yourself, Naruto-san. We will help you to find a way to you return where you from, said Makuba as he smiled. Then, he gets a seed from his pocket and grown it into a beautiful yellow rose. Even the prettiest flowers need help to bloom. Naruto couldn't help, but smiled gently at Makuba. Thought he had an unlike bloodline, he wasn't arrogant like Sasuke or the Hyuga. She accepted the yellow rose from Makuba. Thanks Makuba, I really need that. Makuba left Naruto's room. She smiled at the yellow rose as she sniffed its perfume. Then, her face turned into a determination face. Naruto remembered that Kyuubi said, he said it's extremely rare someone having the power over space and time, which means they exist, only very hard to find them. When she finds one of them, she will be able to return to her one time period. Growl. But before everything, Naruto decided to eat the night snack that Makuba bought to her. Damned, she was really hungry. And she liked the cookies. 2 weeks have passed since Naruto started living with the young Shoden and Naidame Hokage in the past. Naruto is still clueless on how to return to her own time period, and Kyuubi already had mentioned to her it will be extremely hard. But, Naruto isn't the type to give up so easily. She will find a way to return to her own time period. She got along very well with Makuba and Takimaru. Takimaru was a prankster, like she herself was once, while Makuba was a mother hen type, always worried about his little brother. One of the things Naruto learned about the future Hokage brothers was the fact that they were half-brothers. This explained a lot of their differences, like why Makuba is the only one in his family to use Mokuton. It seems that his mother was a type of nature spirit. She died while giving birth to him. Like his mother, not only is he able to control Mokuton powers, but he's also able to talk to plants and animals. Makuba once mentioned that his descendants might not get Mokuton in their blood. This helped to explain to Naruto why Tsunade Ba-chan didn't have control over plants, even though she was the granddaughter of Shodai Hokage. Naruto trained with them for a while, but was careful not to use any future Konoha techniques. Makuba was highly impressed with Naruto's fighting abilities. Unlike most kunoichi, who are specialists of illusions, medicine and art of seduction, Naruto was none of these. She was an extremely skilled fighter. Makuba would sometimes wonder if she was from an Amazon tribe. Makuba's brother, Takimaru, also liked Naruto very much, especially when she turned out not to be a mindless fangirl or a sissy like many of the other girls in the Senju clan. Makuba's and Takimaru's relationship with Naruto sometimes mirrored that of a brother and sister. The Senju elders thought it would be a good idea to put them in a genin team together, though it was unofficial because the clan was also busy preparing for the arrival of the Uchiha clan to talk about the union between them. Meanwhile, Makuba, Takimaru and Naruto were called to help the Sarutobi clan. Sarutobi Kan was a loyal servant of the Senju clan, and he was going to see the Nara clan about the union of the ninja clans of Fire Country. But he could never leave his pregnant wife by herself. That's where Makuba, Takimaru and Naruto came in. They were to take care of his wife while he was out. Welcome to our home, kids, Sarutobi Kan greeted while showing them into his living room. This is my wife Rika. Hello kids. Thank you for coming here to help me so my husband doesn't have to be worried. Makuba, Takimaru and Naruto couldn't help but stare at Rika's enlarged pregnant stomach. She was obviously far into her pregnancy. They were amazed with the sight since it wasn't every day they got to see a pregnant woman so close. Sarutobi-sama, are you sure it was wise to leave now when she is so close to giving birth? Asked Makuba. I know Makuba-kun, but it cannot be helped and that's why I called you three here. I have a meeting with the Nara clan of the Deer Forest. You know how important this meeting is to a ninja village. We need as many clans as possible on our side, Kan stated. While Makuba understood how important this meeting was, he still thought Kan was wrong, but kept this opinion to himself. When Rika saw that Naruto and Takimaru were still staring at her belly, she waved them over, smiling gently at them. Do you want to feel the baby moving? Asked Rika kindly. The question caught them both by surprise. Well, Takimaru stuttered while blushing heavily. Sure, said Naruto. Naruto placed her hand on the woman's stomach and jumped a little when she could feel the baby kicking. The emotion she felt was hard to explain. It was awe-inspiring. Then Kan excused himself, kissing his wife goodbye before leaving to have the reunion with the Nara in their feud. Before Kan walked out of the house, Makuba told him to not worry, assuring him that they would take care of his wife and the unborn child. With that said, Kan left. Now what? Asked Naruto. Well dear, would you like to learn how to sew? I could teach you. I will even show you the baby clothes I have made. Sure, why not? Naruto helped Rika to stand and followed her into a room that she was sure was going to be the baby's when it was born. Rika was showing Naruto all the baby clothes, which she thought were kawaii, and Naruto found herself wondering if this is how a mother and daughter act with each other. Naruto never acted girly, but she kind of liked the mother-child moment with the lady Sarutobi. She even liked that she was teaching her to sew. Meanwhile, Takimaru, who was being forced by his older brother, was doing all the cleaning while Makuba was cooking their dinner. When dinner was ready, everyone was eating Makuba's cooking and drinking tea. Lady Sarutobi had to admit Makuba's food was good. It was the first time she ate something made by a male. Makuba said he had to learn to cook because both his parents and brother are hopeless in the kitchen. Naruto and Rika laughed as Takimaru blushed. The talk was light, and Naruto somehow felt happy. Rika became worried when it started raining hard. I hope this rain doesn't make the Uchiha clan late in coming here, commented Takimaru while he, Naruto and Makuba were playing cards. Naruto's heart skipped a beat when she heard the Uchiha clan was coming, Sasuke's clan. Why are they coming here? Questioned Naruto, trying to hide her nervousness about the Uchiha clan. Well, Naruto-san, our elders think it's the best for the Fire Country if we have a ninja village. For this, we are trying to get the main clans of the country together to form a big ninja village. The elders invited the Uchiha clan to form an alliance, while Sarutobi-san went to Nara clan to invite them to also become allies for the shinobi village formation. So this is how Konoha was born. Naruto thought silently to herself. The Senju clan thought it was the best for the country if we get all the ninja clans together. Naruto must have slept through the history lesson when Iruka-sensei was telling the class about the pre-Konoha history. Iruka-sensei, I hope he's alright, thought Naruto whimsically. Naruto was jolted out of her thoughts when she heard a yelp. She saw Rika clutching her stomach as though in pain. Rika would have hit the floor if it wasn't for Makuba catching her in time. Rika-san, what's wrong? Asked Makuba, worried. When he saw the front of Rika's kimono was soaked with some spots of blood, Makuba felt it wasn't a good sign. I think, it said Rika in pain. Who is coming? Asked Takimaru, clueless. The baby, damn it, snapped Rika. Everyone in the room was petrified. What? Yelled Naruto, Takimaru and Makuba. Rika was lying in the bed, breathing heavily, with sweat covering her face. Naruto and Makuba were doing everything they could to make her comfortable while Takimaru went out in the rain to bring a doctor. Naruto was pretty worried, and the rain outside still didn't show any signs of stopping anytime soon. Alright. Hell, this hurts a lot. Where's the hell is Kan? I will kill him for causing me this pain. Sadly for Makuba, he had only some knowledge about medical plants, and he was giving some to help Rika with the pain. Naruto was feeling so useless for not being able to help the woman in this situation. She cursed Takimaru for taking so long to bring the doctor. Suddenly the door opened and it was Takimaru with the doctor. The doctor was giving instructions for them to help him in the childbirth. Makuba and Takimaru were ordered to bring as many clean towels as they could find, while Naruto was told to bring hot water to the room. Makuba had to hold Rika's hand. Poor guy, he knew that his hand would end up being crushed. Rika screamed as she started to push. Makuba yelped in pain when he felt his hand being crushed, and both Naruto and Takimaru felt pity for the older Senju brother. You're doing fine, Rika-san. I can already see the head, said the doctor. The scene was too much for Takimaru. For a ninja in training, the poor young Senju ninja did not know what he should do. He fainted when he saw the baby coming out. Naruto was too terrified to do anything as she saw the baby coming out. Then they could hear the sound that they were expecting. Everybody turned to the doctor and gasped in surprise when they saw him holding a beautiful and bloody baby boy. Rika cried out happily when she saw her baby boy crying. "Congratulations Rika-san, you are a mother of a healthy baby boy," the doctor said while smiling. That night Naruto found herself bandaging Makuba's crushed hand. Makuba had no idea women can be so strong and scary while they were in labor. Takimaru was still horrified and feeling sick from the birthing process. "Poor Otuto. I hope what happened this night doesn't make him too traumatized," said Makuba as Naruto finished bandaging his crushed hand. He, but you have to admit we were in weird situation. Can you imagine how Kan-san will react when he returns from his mission?" The two of them started to laugh as they imagined the horrified expression of the poor man when he finds out that his wife gave the birth to their first son while he was away and an angry Rika yelling at him for not being there for her. Naruto was still amazed when she found out that the baby she saw coming to this world was the future Sandaime Hokage, who took care of her when no one else wanted to because of the demon she had inside of her. "But you have to admit it was a good experience. We are ninjas, we're trained to kill, but last night we didn't see death, but life coming to this world," Naruto said smiling happily. In Makuba's opinion, it was one of the brightest smiles he had ever seen. Mothers are amazing. They can do what ninja can't do even in a million years. "Yeah, I agree," said Makuba. A few days later, Kan-san returned from his mission accompanied by Inara with him. Needless to say he fainted when he saw his son in his wife's arms and Rika yelled at him for not being there with her for the birth. Naruto was training in the training grounds by herself. Makuba and Takimaru were not with her because they had to go to a meeting with the elders, something involving the union of the ninja clans in the country. So she decided to train with her shadow clones. After she finished, she heard an unfamiliar voice. "You know, kunoichis shouldn't train that way," said the voice. Naruto turned around and she saw a boy around her age, maybe a little older. He had short spiky black hair and pale skin. He was wearing a black shirt, black pants, and black ninja sandals. Both of his arms were wrapped in bandages. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise when she saw the symbol in his chain. It was a red and white fan. He was an Uchiha. "What's the problem with the way I train?" Naruto growled, trying to suppress her anger. "Hey, trying to be a man, aren't you Dobi?" asked the young Uchiha as he smirked. "I mean female ninjas are only useful for seduction, being medics and being good wives. They were never born to fight." Bam! Suddenly the Uchiha flew backwards into a tree when he felt a powerful punch land on his face. He was shocked by the strength of the girl. "Teme, you are not him. Don't try to be him." Naruto screamed at the unsuspecting boy before leaving the training grounds. Naruto was standing in the council room with Makuba and Takimaru beside her. She was still mad with that Uchiha brat not only for calling her a Dobi, only Sasuke has the right to call her Dobi, but also for saying women weren't meant to fight. Damn it all, if every one of the males in this time period acted like arrogant stuck-up pigs. She could not wait to return to her own time period. "Uzumaki-san, are you even listening?" shouted an elder. Naruto blinked a few times before she remembered she was in the council room. She gave a foxy smile as she scratched behind her head in embarrassment. "Sorry, my bad. It is one of those days." It was a lame excuse, but it was the only one she could give. The elder and the Senju brothers blushed a little when she mentioned those days. "Well, anyway," another elder started, "the Uchiha clan is here, and we talked about the formation for a shinobi village with all the ninja clans in the Fire Country. They agree with us as long we send one of their clan members along with ours in a self-knowledge journey. During this self-knowledge journey you will learn the cultures of other villages and also learn more about the other ninja clans. By gathering better data for our records we can then form a better alliance with them." Makuba and Takimaru nodded, but Naruto was still confused. She understood their roles but she still didn't understand why she was here. She was not a member of Senju clan. She was just their guest. "Anyo. May I ask why I was called here also?" asked Naruto. "We are glad you have asked this, Uzumaki-san." Another elder spoke up. "We know how far you are from home and we decided to send you with Makuba and Takimaru along with a Uchiha on this journey." "Are you saying I need protection from them?" snapped Naruto. Takimaru and Makuba had to hold her in place so that she would not kill the poor elder who spoke. Now, Makuba had no doubt she was an Amazon. Then the same Uchiha that showed up at the training grounds where Naruto was, stood in the doorway smirking. "Hey, And who would want to protect a bitch like her? Asked the Uchiha. Teme, I am not a bitch. I am Uzumaki Naruto. Remember that. Uchiha Madara, that's all you need to know, Dobi, said Madara. Makuba had to summon some wood to hold a really angered Naruto from killing him. Takimaru was even scared of the girl's level of anger. The next day the four of them were out in the Senju forest to start their journey around Fire Country. Naruto was still glaring at Madara and the young Uchiha was ignoring her. Makuba and Takimaru were a bit worried by this. I bet one Ryu that Naruto will chop off his little friend, whispered Takimaru as Makuba's face was as red as his kimono. Uto, you shouldn't bet something like that, whispered Makuba back in an angry tone, though he was still blushing from his brother's comment. You have to admit they act like an old married couple. It was enough for Takimaru's face to meet the ground in 2 seconds flat. Makuba's sweat dropped when they saw Madara and Naruto had kicked his younger brother. Makuba sighed in frustration. This is going to be a very long self-knowledge journey. Makuba just hoped he would survive with a jaded Uchiha, an easily angered girl and a prankster as a brother around. It has been 3 months since Naruto started her journey around Fire Country with Makuba, Takimaru and sadly Uchiha Madara. Her relationship with Madara was anything but friendly. Though they work well together when the situation calls for it, most of their time together is spent exchanging insults. Makuba is always trying to play the peacemaker, while Takimaru ignores their fights, tuning them out. Makuba seemed to be the only one willing to try and be friends with the young Uchiha. Naruto sure as the hell wasn't going to try and be friends with the arrogant prick, Sasuke's ancestor of Not. She was already hurt enough by the Uchiha brothers in her time and she did not want to be hurt by another Uchiha again. Besides, Kyuubi warned her to stay away from Madara. Naruto had a weird feeling that Kyuubi was afraid of Madara for some reason. One more reason why she did not want anything to do with him. She did trust Kyuubi's instincts when it came to people. In their journey, Naruto had met some of the other Konoha shinobi clans. In the first month they had met the Inuzuka clan. They had helped them to stop a greedy farmer on polluting their water. After this, the Inuzuka agreed with the alliance of the formation of a shinobi village. In their second month, they meet the Akamichi clan. Naruto grimaced every time she remembers on how they got their alliance. Naruto had to defeat Akamichi Chomaru. Naruto suspects he might be Choji's great-grandfather, in an eating contest. Needless to say both the Akamichi clan and her teammates were shocked and awed on how many bowls of ramen she could eat without getting fat. Nothing gets between Naruto and her precious ramen. Naruto never would have imagined the ramen chef was the true Ichikaru's ancestor. She was happy that the chef decided to go to the Senju clan to help on the formation of the shinobi village. Now in their third month of journey, nothing special has happened and Naruto and Takimaru were getting bored. Complaining about the lack of action, Makuba sighed as Madara just ignored them. Then they saw a caravan and Makuba decided to ask them for directions. "Excuse us sir," said Makuba to a man driving a car. "Would you happen to know the directions to the next village?" "Ah, you are lucky. We are headed to Kyoshi village now so that we may attend the spring festival." "Spring festival?" asked Naruto. "Ah, there's a lady between you." The old man sighed. "Too bad you are still so young, or I would ask which one of you is going to marry this lovely lady." He laughed when he saw the blushing faces of Naruto, Makuba, and Takimaru. "Yay right. Who would want to marry a monster like her?" Madara smirked as he once again avoided one of Naruto's punches. "Haven't you kids heard? Kyoshi's festival is famous because of their wedding ceremonies to all people, rich or poor. Why don't you all come with us? You might have fun at the festival." With the promise of possible fun, Takimaru and Naruto soon put on their famous puppy eye jutsu. Makuba's sweat dropped at his brother and friend's childish behavior. "Well, I think a little break will not hurt," said Makuba. "Yeah," cheered Naruto and Takimaru. "Morons," growled Madara while rolling his eyes. At Kyoshi village everyone was doing their work for the spring festival for the night. Naruto was happy because it was rare for her to go to a festival without having problems with angry villagers, especially the Kyuubi festival, which she avoided every year. That was in her time though and right now she planned on enjoying this to her full extent. "I think it will be nice to go to this festival." "We totally agree," said female voices from behind them. They turned around and saw three girls around 16 years of age. They had a weird look in their eyes. "We saw you around the caravan," said one of the girls. "You not dressed to attend this festival," said one of the other girls. "Don't worry though, we will fix that problem," said the girl closest to Naruto. The trio grabbed Naruto as they took her away from the boys. Makuba had a horrified look on his face while Takimaru and Madara sweat dropped. Then the same elder from the caravan came up behind them. "Oh ho ho, don't worry boys. They just kidnapped her to prepare her for the festival. You will see her again before tonight," said the elder as he pulled out a bottle of sake from nowhere. "Now who wants some sake while we wait for the girls to return?" For some reason that made Makuba become more worried than before, especially with this guy around trying to give sake to minors. "No way, you will now make me wear this thing," yelled Naruto. "Oh yeah, you will," yelled one of the girls. All three were surrounding her threateningly while holding a kimono. "And we will make you the prettiest girl at the festival," said the one next to Naruto. "And you even will charm your male teammates," said the last girl smiling coyly. Naruto's sweat dropped. These girls would get along well with Sakura and Ino. They dealt best in the area of clothes, makeup and romance. "But I don't even like dressing up," Naruto said, sounding frustrated. For some reason, they have that weird look again. Naruto rolled her eyes and prayed someone would save her. Those girls are not only weird, but also insane. Hours later, after much protest and grumbling, from Naruto, irritated exclamations, threats, and exasperated sighs, Naruto was finally ready for the festival. The other three girls stood back to admire their handiwork with pride. "You look beautiful, Naruto," gushed the girls in unison. "I am not beautiful," Naruto grumbled as she looked away, a slight smile on her face and a faint pink blush on her cheeks. No one in the village had told her she was beautiful before. "You are," one of the girls cried out. "With our hard work you look prettier than before. If only you had long hair. Our work is done, now go get your boys." "Yeah," cheered the girls. Now Naruto remembered one of the big reasons why she liked to dress as a boy. It was a really nice festival in Madara's opinion. The music was good, the food was fantastic, and everybody seemed to be having fun. But there's only one problem. The Uchihas are not into festivals, much less having fun. The only worthy company had to stay with his stupid younger brother because he is afraid that said foolish little brother would be stupid enough to drink sake with that insane elder. Makuba stayed with him to make sure Takimaru didn't do anything stupid. "Foolish Takimaru," muttered Madara darkly. "Hello Teme. Where's Makuba and Takimaru?" Madara recognized the voice as Naruto's. Turning around to face the blonde girl, he felt a jolt of shock and surprise. Naruto was dressing in an orange kimono with golden flowers on it. She had a small amount of makeup on her face to bring out her eyes and lips, and atop her head was a crown of sakura flowers. Madara blushed before he could stop himself. Whatever those girls did to Naruto, they pulled a miracle on her. She looked like a beautiful geisha to him. "Yeah, I know. I look a little odd in this kimono," Naruto sighed while looking down at herself. "Those girls are insane if you ask me. Even if they are insane, those girls are miracle workers. You even look like a lady," Madara said, not able to hide his shock. "Gee, I don't know if that was a compliment or sarcasm," said Naruto, narrowing her eyes at the Uchiha who was dressed in a plain black kimono. "You could have dressed in something more cheerful for the festival." "Ops, I'm sorry. Now I remember, Uchihas are not cheerful, and much less interested into going to parties." "How come you know so much about my clan anyway? You act like you know how the Uchiha clan acts," said Madara, looking distrustfully at Naruto. "Staying 3 months with you is more than enough to know how your clan acts," Naruto replied. Well, that wasn't exactly a lie per se. After watching Madara, Naruto could tell how the Uchihas would act if there had been no psycho man killing off his own clan and making his young brother an insane avenger who lusted for power. Of course that wasn't enough to convince Madara, quite the opposite. But he decided he would find out later about Naruto. She still was a mysterious in Madara's point of view. Both of them called a temporary truce for the festival, neither one of them wanting to make a scene. Deciding she wanted to try out one of the game booths, Naruto paid and focused on hitting the targets. After hitting all of the bull's eyes with some senbon, she picked a teddy bear as a prize. She loved the teddy bear and held onto it tightly. It was her first teddy bears since she was a little girl back in Konoha. She never had any toys, not even a doll except for the teddy bear that old man Hokage gave her for her 3rd birthday. Madara bought some dango for them to eat. Naruto was surprised on how much Madara enjoyed eating dango. He would eat it as much she would eat ramen. Neither Naruto nor Madara wanted to admit it, but they were enjoying each other's company. In the center of the festival there was a field for dancing. Madara was about to ask Naruto if she would like to dance with him, but someone already beat him to it. Would the lovely lady like a dance? It was Makuba, dressed in a white and red kimono. He smiled as he saw Naruto's kimono. No doubt in his eyes she was beautiful. Sure, she answered while smiling shyly. Makuba grabbed Naruto's hand and led her out into the field and pulled her close and started to dance. Madara didn't do anything, but if you looked into his eyes they were showing his jealousy. "Hey Mata-kun, I finally found you too," said Takimaru, who walked up to Madara while carrying a box of dango. "It's a miracle to find you two not trying to rip each other's throats out." "Something happened while we were out?" "Don't call me that. You know I hate that nickname," hissed Madara. "Nothing happened because Naruto-san and I agreed on a truce for only tonight." "Since when do you call her Naruto-san?" asked Takimaru, raising one brow inquisitively. "None of your business," said Madara before leaving. Takimaru was confused. Was it his impression that Madara sounded a little jealous? If he really is jealous, then that means that the almighty Uchiha has feelings after all. Takimaru smirked. There's still hope for him. He looked at Naruto and Makuba still dancing and it made him a little jealous too. "I think I will look for my pair too. I cannot believe this. This is fun." Naruto laughed as she and Makuba left the dance area. "Yeah, and you know, I think you're laughing like that makes you even prettier," winked Makuba as Naruto's face blushed a deep red. "Stop that," muttered Naruto, feeling very shy. "I am not that pretty." "Yes, you are. And I like you because you are so different from any other girl I have met." Naruto's heart started beating fast. This is not happening. Makuba, the future Shodai Hokage and Tsunade's grandfather, is not flirting with her. Not that way. It would be just weird. Too weird. Before Makuba would have a chance to do anything, a voice interrupted them. "Ah, what a cute couple. I am happy you two are enjoying the flames of your youth tonight." Both Naruto and Makuba jumped further apart upon the sudden outburst directed towards them from behind. Turning around, the young couple came face to face with a weird guy with an odd haircut and big brows. He was wearing a red bodysuit and leg warmers. Naruto's eyes widened in pure horror. Except for the color in the bodysuit and without the Junin vest, this guy was Madara's clone. "Ah!" Naruto screamed while pointing her index finger at the stranger, who was also not so much a stranger to Naruto. "Thick brows sensei?" Naruto wasn't only horrified, but also shocked. For a minute she almost forgot she was, in fact, in the past. She just realized the color in the bodysuit was wrong. It was kind of scary to see a guy that reminded her so much of thick brows. Makuba was now completely confused to Naruto's reaction towards the man. Does Naruto know this weirdo? She looked pretty shocked. Well, anyone would be shocked to see a strange guy with big brows, an odd haircut and wearing a red bodysuit and black leg warmers. In Makuba's opinion, this guy has no sense of aesthetic. "Do you know this guy Naruto-san?" asked Makuba. "I think it's the first time we have met each other, youthful lady," said the clone guy, grinning. Maida Kai is the name, the defender of youthful flames. Kai proceeded to flash a grin, complete with sparkling teeth. Maida Kai? Is he Thick Brow's grandfather or something? Thought Naruto, still in shock. The same sense of fashion and the same look, no doubt he might be Maida Kai's grandfather or great-grandfather. It looks like the bodysuit is what they are raised to wear. It's no wonder Guy had not fashion sense. Naruto idly wondered why Kai's bodysuit is red and not green like Thick Brows. "I take my eyes off you for a second and here you are, already bothering those poor kids," said a new and female voice. Naruto and Makuba turned around and they had the same reaction to the owner's voice when they saw Kai. It was a woman, around her early 20s. She had long brown hair that was tied in a braid that hung down her back, pale skin and big green eyes. She was wearing a yellow bodysuit with white leg warmers. Makuba had to grab a handkerchief to hide his bloody nose because the woman's bust was big, which could rival Tsunade's in Naruto's opinion, and the thin outfit didn't leave much to the imagination. Youthful couple, this is my sweetheart, Maida Subaru. She is my wife since we married today in the festival, said Kai grinning. You could tell that to him. He was the happiest person alive in his point of view. Your wife? Asked Makuba with a sweat drop in his head. Congratulations, said Naruto slowly, not sure what to say to the couple. Thank you, kids, said Subaru with a smile. Hey honey, where's Taichi anyway? Who's that? Asked Naruto. Taichi is my brother, said Kai, he should be around the festival. For some reason Naruto and Makuba felt a chill in their spine. They wondered what type of person Taichi must be. Naruto started to think that weirdness ran in the blood of the Maida family. So much for thinking it was just Guy and that he somehow managed to brainwash Lee. Uchiha Madara was looking grim. Well, he looks like a grim most of time, because that is just the kind of face the Uchiha clan had. But now he was in a bad mood. Why? There is actually two reasons why he was in bad mood. 1. He can't stop thinking about Naruto dressed in that kimono, and he hated to admit it, but he was even enjoying her company before Makuba stole her from him. He wished that he was the one that was dancing with her. Of course he was not feeling jealous or anything, which would be below him. He just wanted a good dance partner to dance with, and Naruto was the only girl in the country that did not act like a mindless fangirl towards him. Someone is in denial, said Takimaru in an annoying sing-song tone. The second reason why he is in bad mood is because, while Makuba and Naruto were somewhere else, Takimaru decided to stay with him. He seemed to enjoy annoying him whenever the chance would arise. Right now they were in a dango bar eating some dango and drinking tea. Don't you have anywhere to go? Sighed Madara in frustration. The last thing he wanted to do is babysit Takimaru when it was Makuba's job. Nope, Takimaru grinned as he ate his dango. I decided to stay with you since there is nothing else to do. Madara tried to hide his anger and frustration. Takimaru's prankster nature got the best of him and he couldn't pass up the opportunity to tease the Uchiha, especially when he found out he might have a crush on Naruto. He was going to find out somehow. So, what color do you think would suit Naru-chan better? Asked Takimaru. Blue. Madara spoke before he realized what he just said. Takimaru smiled widely like a child who woke up in the Christmas morning. He had no doubts now. Madara has a crush on the blonde. Who would have ever thought? Oh, like the color of her eyes, said Takimaru while nodding to himself. I guess blue would really suit her well, right Mada-kun? Do you want to get beaten within an inch of your life? Growled Madara threateningly. Before Takimaru could say anything though, they heard people yelling about a fire. Madara and Takimaru ran to see what that was about. They saw the ceremony house was in flames. The villagers were doing their best to control the fire, but the well and the river were in the other side of the town. Takimaru growled. If he had a source of water nearby, he could help these people to control the flames. Suddenly a mysterious guy was in the front. He was wearing a cape and a hood that hid his face. Stay back, said the mysterious figure. With a simple seal hand a lot of water came out of nowhere. It was enough to kill the flames. The people were shocked, especially Takimaru and Madara. How could this person summon a lot of water without a source nearby? The stranger started to walk away as Takimaru and Madara followed him. Wait, yelled Takimaru. The figure stopped as he removed the hood on his head. His face revealed it was a young man, around of his 18 years. He has a jet raven hair and a tanned skin. His eyes were ember and he was using a pair of glasses in his face. He looked at Takimaru. What do you want? Asked the young man. We want to know how you did that. I mean, summoning water from nowhere, said Takimaru. His elemental affinity is water and he was training to be a great Sweden user in the fire country, and summoning water from nowhere would be a handy thing for him to learn. Of course there was source of water. All I did was to bring on its liquid stage, the stranger replied. Takimaru would have asked more questions if they weren't interrupted by another stranger's voice. Madara and Takimaru turned around and they had the shock of their lives. They saw a couple wearing a weird spandex bodysuit and leg warmers. Takimaru had a severe bloody nose when he saw the size of the woman's bust. Behind them were Makuba and Naruto. Ah, there you are Taichi, said Kai to the young man. We saw what you did Otuto. It was very youthful of you. I did what anyone should do, Iniki, said Taichi. Naruto, Makuba, Madara and Takimaru made a shocked expression. They looked closer attention to Tai Chi and Kai. It was impossible to say they were brothers. I mean, come on. One looked weird and lacked any kind of fashion sense, while the other one looked normal. Those two are really brothers? Tai Chi sounded so much more normal than Kai. Hours later, the Maida and our group of adventurers were in an inn. The group found out that the Maida was just travelers and like them. They were in a journey around the country to meet people and learn new techniques. They would love to have a village to live in and call home. Hey, why don't you join in the alliance? Suggested Takimaru. In our journey, the alliance between the shinobi of the country is also involved in our training. That's an awesome and youthful idea, Takimaru-kun, said Kai. His eyes shined as an idea came to his mind. I got an even better youthful idea. We shall join in your journey and train you in everything we know about the power of youth. For some strange reason, Takimaru felt a lot of chill when he felt a killing intense aura around his brother, Naruto and Madara. What did he do to make them upset? 2 days later, they left Kyoshi village. The group then went to an empty field to train. Tai Chi, who didn't want anything to do with their training, stayed under a tree mediating away from the madness of his brother and his new sister-in-law. Takimaru was upset because he really wanted to know how to summon water from nowhere. Well, today's lesson will be taijutsu. From what I can see, you all lack in the area of taijutsu and are putting too much of your focus into ninjutsu and genjutsu, said Kai. You know most ninjas use ninjutsu and genjutsu. Why do we need learn more taijutsu anyway? Asked Takimaru, only to get a smack in the top of his head from Subaru. You know, Takimaru, if there's a taijutsu expert, then that means they're an expert on close combat, and the ones who focus too much in ninjutsu and genjutsu might have a problem fighting them, explained Naruto as she remembered the fight between Sasuke and Lee before the Chunin exams. Never mock taijutsu, you might end up in a lot of pain. That's right, Naruto-san, said Subaru, nodding. Which one of you will be teaching us? Asked Makuba. Deep down, he agreed with Subaru and Kai because they did suck at taijutsu. Taikuma, said Subaru. The four kids looked confused. Who was Taikuma? Subaru bit her thumb as she made some hand seals before she slammed her hand in the ground. Puff. Out from the smoke came a big bear. His fur was dark brown and he had dark eyes. There was bandages around his front arms. And he was wearing a blue yukata on his torso. The bear looked grumpy and angry. Yo, Subaru, what's up? Said the bear in a deep voice. I have some kids here who would like to learn some taijutsu, said Subaru. You mean a bear will teach us taijutsu? Snapped Madara, infuriated. Are you crazy, woman? Nope, I am not crazy, and it's Subaru-sensei, Uchiha-kun, said Subaru, smiling. Naruto got chills when she saw Subaru's smile. It reminds a lot of Anko's crazy smile. Oh, I guess we have an arrogant fool, said Taikuma, smirking. Hey, don't worry, Subaru-chan. I will put him in his place in 5 minutes flat. Hey, like a stupid bear would take an Uchiha down, said Madara, smirking arrogantly. Oh, an Uchiha, huh? Sorry, I meant to say 3 minutes. That what happened too. In 3 minutes Madara got the beating of his life. Madara was all bloody, beaten and scratched. However, Madara's pride was more hurt than his body for being beaten so easily by a bear. The bear smirked as he pointed to Naruto. You're next. Naruto knew she would be in a lot of pain for the rest of the day. In the evening everybody set a camp. Since Naruto had her fast healing factor, she wasn't in much pain anymore. It was quite the opposite for the boys, however. Makuba, Takimaru and Madara were moaning in pain while Subaru and her other summoning. This time a panda bear were busy nursing them back to health. Naruto was stuck nursing Madara. Well, I did warn you to not mock a taijutsu master because you might end up in a lot of pain, said Naruto to Madara as she finished bandaging his torso. I was defeated by a bear, muttered Madara darkly. It's a bear that is a taijutsu master, corrected Naruto. Whatever. It's still a bear. I don't know which one is more insane, that woman or that weirdo, snapped Madara. They are not that bad. Weird they may be, but that doesn't mean we won't learn something from them, said Naruto, smiling with a sweat drop on the side of her head. I wish it was Tai Chi training us and not those weirdas. He has more sense than those two put together. Naruto looked at Tai Chi sleeping under the tree. He didn't talk very much. She wondered what was up with that guy. Naruto woke up with the sounds of steps. She realized it was Tai Chi going to the river. She decided to follow him to see what was up with him, so she hid herself behind some rocks. She saw Tai Chi talking to something small. It was too dark to see what it was. "Did you bring it?" asked Tai Chi. "Yes," said the voice softly as it gave something to Tai Chi. "Tai Chi, when are you going to tell them?" "Tell them what?" Naruto was pretty confused. "What are they talking about?" "My brother doesn't need to know about my illness, Mizuhime," said Tai Chi as he looked in the directions of the rocks. "You can come out of hiding now." Naruto, who was now in Tai Chi's sight, felt embarrassed for being discovered. As she got closer, she saw who it was that Tai Chi had for company. "A blue weasel?" asked Naruto, confused. The little blue creature was mad as it glared at the blondie. "Humph, I am not a weasel, brat. I am an otter. My name is Mizuhime. Remember that." "Don't tell me," said Naruto slowly as she looked at Tai Chi. "You're summon, right? I thought you could summon turtles like Kai." "Nothing against turtles. The turtle contract was in the Maida family for 3 generations since my grandfather, but I owe a lot to the otters," said Tai Chi. Tai Chi explained that when he was a child, there was a flood in his village while his brother and father were out. He didn't know how to swim and he would have drowned if it wasn't for a spirit of an otter. The animal spirit became very friendly to Tai Chi and it gave him a summoning contract to summon otters, both sea and river type. Tai Chi started to cough as he fell to his knees and put his hand to his mouth. "Tai Chi, are you okay?" asked Naruto, worried. "Tai Chi, you shouldn't force yourself," said Mizuhime. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise when she saw blood in Tai Chi's hand. Naruto quivered. She knew what Tai Chi had. She saw the same symptom on an old man who lived in Konoha's streets, and he was one of the very few who saw Naruto as a human and not as the Kyuubi. That old man was very caring and took care of Naruto when she was kicked out of the orphanage and started to live on the streets with him. Naruto would have taken him to her new apartment if he hadn't died from tuberculosis. Tai Chi, you stared Naruto as Tai Chi drank the medicine that Mizuhime had given to him. "Please, don't tell my brother. I don't want to make them sad or have pity on me," said Tai Chi. "But you have tuberculosis," snapped Naruto as Mizuhime looked sad. "I tried to convince him to tell them, but he's so stubborn," said Mizuhime, becoming sad. "The otter shaman did everything to make him feel less pain, but his time for life. I prefer to die watching them being happy than making them depressed when there is nothing they can do," snapped Tai Chi. The next morning Naruto was pretty quiet. A part of her wanted to tell to Subaru and Kai about Tai Chi's illness, but if she did that the youngest Maida would not forgive her. Madara and Makuba didn't like Naruto's sudden strange behavior. She was never this quiet. "Naruto-san, are there any problems you would like to talk about?" asked Makuba, worried. "Oh, it's nothing. I am just thinking about some stuff," said Naruto, smiling. "Like your home?" asked Takimaru. Suddenly Naruto felt very homesick. It has been 3 whole months since she got stuck in the past with the future Shodem and Naidame Hokage, and she still didn't have any clue on how to return to her own time period. She really missed everyone dear to her in Konoha. Makuba glared at his brother as Madara called him a moron. "Don't make that unyouthful face, Naru-chan," yelled Kai. "We're almost at the Shinzo village. In there we will get a good bath at the hot springs." Naruto smiled a little. She knew that Kai was trying to cheer her up and she felt very bad for not being able to tell him about his brother's illness. When they arrived at Shinzo village, the village was completely deserted. It looked more like a ghost town. The group didn't like the chills they were feeling in this town. "What happened here?" asked Takimaru. Tai Chi looked around and he saw marks on the walls and the ground. It was bite marks and tiny footprints. Takimaru turned a corner and screamed. The other rushed where Takimaru was. They gasped in horror when they saw a lot of bodies, half-eaten and in the beginning stages of decomposition. Naruto was feeling sick because of the strong scent of rotten flesh. She turned around and vomited. Tai Chi checked the bodies and they had the same marks as in the walls of the houses. Hours later, Naruto's group and the mated trio buried all the dead villages. Makuba used his Mokuton power to summon flowers in the tombs. Madara thought the situation was very weird. "Have any of you noticed we all buried adults and not even a single child?" asked Madara to the others. "Now that you mention it, that's true. All the bodies were adults but no children," commented Makuba. "That doesn't make any sense though," said Naruto. "We still don't know what killed these poor villagers. Subaru, I want you summon one of your bears." I want to check something. Subaru nodded as she summoned one of her bears. This time it was a little black bear. It looked friendlier than Taikuma. Yo Subaru Nichan, what's up? Koda, please smell around this town. Taichi wants you to check something. Oh Su, right away. Koda smelled the ground. After a few seconds he gasped in horror and disgust. He turned to Subaru with fear in his little eyes. Subaru Nichan, I smell rats. Rats? But how could rats do this much damage? Asked Takimaru worried. Rats can do this damage if they are in large numbers, answered Makuba. Zushi rats, said Taichi as the others looked at him confused. Koda looked horrified when he heard Zushi rats. What are Zushi rats? Asked Naruto confused. Zushi rats are rat demons. They are summoned from a type of tiny closet and they are controlled by a rat master. They are very dangerous rats, and if you cut them, their number will only increase. I thought all the Zushi closets were destroyed, said Koda. Zushi rats are extremely dangerous. Even some of the boss summons fears them. Naruto was now shocked. She never liked rats, but if a bunch of rats give fear to the bigger summoning beasts, that means the situation is really serious. She couldn't imagine a boss like Gamabunta being afraid of rats. What are we going to do? If there's a Zushi closet, we must destroy it. We don't want rats destroying more villages like this one, said Kai for the first time being really serious. Very far away inside of a cave, children were crying inside cages. They were crying in fear, cold and for the death of their parents. These poor children didn't know what would happen to them. Then a man walked over and kicked one of the cages. Shut up your little brats, snapped a man. Hey, we sure did good work. We might make good money selling the boys to the farms and the girls to the red light districts. Man, I can't wait to see those girls when they get older. I bet they will be good whores, said another man eating a hen thigh. When he finished, he threw the bone to the cage. And we'll get more money, brother, because we will go after better merchandise, said another man sitting on a tiny closet as he held a flute in his hands. What do you mean, Goki? Asked one of the men. Because my friends, we will go after the Hyuga. I am sure we will get a lot of money if we get their cell children since they hold the precious Byakugan, answered the man called Goki with an evil smile across his ugly face. Naruto's group and the mated trio were following the rat's scents with the help of Koda, one of Subaru's summoning bears. While they were following Koda, Taichi explained on how to kill the rats. 1. Purifying them, which none of them had spirit power for that. 2. Burning them, Madara smirked since he was the only one who knew how to use fire justice, and 3. Destroying the Zushi. By destroying the Zushi, all the rat demons will be gone. They choose option 3 since they wanted to get rid of all the rats at once. Suddenly, they heard a scream. They looked forward and he saw a child, riding on a horse, running away from a bunch of rats. The rats were dark gray color and had only a big single red eye in the middle of their forehead. Zushi rats. Madara quickly made a Kaiden jutsu to burn the rats. The child on the horse would have fallen if it wasn't for Subaru catching the boy in time. Are you alright, kid? Asked Subaru worried. Yeah, I am okay, but the others are not. You need help them, begged the boy. The boy was introduced as Kotaro. He was from the Shinzo village, the one that was destroyed by the Zushi rats. Kotaro explained that 3 men arrived at the village with a Zushi closet and summoned the rats from it. The rats killed all the adults, only leaving the children alive because the men were planning to sell them as slaves for farms and prostitute houses. He was the only one to be able to escape before the Zushi master noticed. Kotaro, I know it's hard, but you have to tell us where those bandits are and where they are keeping the other children, said Subaru to the young boy. They are keeping the others in a cave, but there's also another problem, said Kotaro. Those bandits are planning to attack the Hyuga clan. What did you say? Said Naruto in shock. Those bastards were planning to attack the Hyugas? Naruto was now worried. She may never like how the Hyuga treat their family members with the caged bird seal, but to kill the adults and selling the children like they were animals was going too far. The image of Neji and Hinata came to her mind. She would not allow this happen. Where is the Hyuga estate? Asked Naruto to the kid. The Hyuga estate is downriver, said the boy as Naruto nodded. Taichi-san, you return to the Shinzo village with Kotaro, said Naruto, Kai, and Makuba. Subaru, Takimaru, Madara and I will go to rescue the children and deal with those bandits. Taichi glared at Naruto. She was letting him out because of his illness, but he will not be out of this, especially when he has a lot of knowledge about the Zushi rats. I think it's better for Subaru to stay with the kid, said Taichi. The kid looks like he trusts Subaru more than me. It was true. The kid hugged Subaru like a child would hug its mother when it was afraid or asking for protection. Naruto didn't like this. She knew about his illness and she knew if he didn't care his body that he would die like a fish out from the water. You can go without me. I will take care of this child while you deal with those bandits, said Subaru. Subaru and Kotaro got on the horse and they galloped away, returning to Shinzo village. Kai decided who would go to the Hyuga stage and who will go to the cave to rescue the children. Okay youthful fellows, this is the plan. Team 1 will be Takimaru, Taichi and Naruto. You will go to the Hyuga estate. Team 2 will be myself, Madara and Makuba to rescue the children. They all nodded and the group separated. Kai, Makuba and Madara followed Koda going in the direction of the cave, while Naruto, Kai and Takimaru had gone to the Hyuga estate. At the Hyuga estate a woman was sound asleep on her futon with a smile on her face. She was dreaming happily until she felt something prodding her body. She groaned lightly as she cracked open an eye. As she adjusted to the dimness of the room, she saw a big red eye glowing in the dark in front of her. She screamed in pure horror. Outside of the Hyuga estate, the 3 bandits smirked when they heard all the screaming. The Zushi closet was open and several rats were still coming out from it. In no time we will have all of the Hyuga children, said Goki. Hey brother, can you at least let a pretty girl to live? It's been a long time since I've had any fun, one of the bandits whined. Don't be a fool, Garu. Any older Hyuga will only castrate you, snapped the 3rd bandit. Don't worry, Garu, Geki. After we get the Hyuga children and sell them to the shinobi villages, we will go to the red light district to have some fun, said the one named Goki. What about the others brats at the cave? Don't worry. I left some rats back at the cave so no one will dare to escape. They know if they do they will only be eaten by the rats. Stop right there, yelled a voice. The bandit trip turned around and saw Takimaru and Naruto standing before them. Their faces weren't very happy, especially Naruto with her blue eyes turning red and her whisker marks getting darker. The children were still crying in their cage. The bandits went somewhere else, leaving those disgusting rats to guard them. They didn't know if Kotaro had escaped from the rats or if he had died. They were losing their hope when they heard yelling. Kaden, fireball no jutsu. In 5 seconds the rats become ashes while the children looked confused. What just happened? A plant grew up from the ground and spread the bars open enough for the children to get out. Then, Kai, Madara and Makuba were in the sight of the children. Are you okay, children? Asked Kai to the children. We are all right, but you have to stop the Nezumi brothers, said a little boy. We already know about their plan on capturing the Hyuga children. Kotaro told us, said Makuba. But you don't understand, said girl, who seemed the oldest of the group, around 10 years old. The Nezumi brothers are not humans. That revelation made Kai, Madara and Makuba a little worried. What did they meant by that? Meanwhile inside of the mansion the Hyuga adults, from both main and branch houses, were in the basement protecting the children. Most of the adults were killed by the rats. Every time they cut them with their jukin the rats' number would only increase. What are we going to do, Hayate-sama? Asked a branch member Hyuga. Hayate is the clan head of the Hyuga. He was not sure what to do. He realized that the rats have not killed any children, so whoever was controlling them, their target was to kill the adults. Before he could say something else, they heard a voice behind them. How about we get out of here? It was Takimaru and Mizuhime, Taichi's otter summon. Both of them were very dirty because they had been digging a tunnel underground until they reached the Hyuga mansion. One of branch members blinked, a blue weasel? In a blink of eye, the branch member fell on his face being kicked by the angry blue creature. I am an otter, you baka. Even with your freaky eyes you can't see the difference between a weasel and an otter? Mizuhime yelled angrily. Takimaru and the other Hyuga sweat dropped. If the situation wasn't that bad, Takimaru would have laughed, but they had more important stuff to do than fooling around. Mizuhime, it's not the time for this. We have other problems here, said Takimaru. Okay, said Mizuhime as she glared at the rest of the Hyuga. Alright, move you royal asses to the tunnel if you want to live and keep your eyes in your heads. Takimaru slapped his face. He made a mental note to never mistake an otter for a weasel because they might try to beat the shit out of you. Takimaru wasn't sure if he still wanted to be able to summon otters like Taichi after getting to know Mizuhime better. Naruto glared at the Nezumi brothers, radiating intense anger. It was because of them that many people died so that their children could be sold for money. How she wished to destroy that closet they carried. "Taichi, you take care of the Zushi. I will take of those bastards," said Naruto as a red aura covered her. Taichi was sweating. Never in his life had he felt such powerful and malicious chakra. He didn't say anything to Naruto and instead chose to just nod in agreement. With amazing speed she appeared in front of one of the bandits and gave him a powerful punch, which sent him flying. Taichi took the opportunity of the confusion to get to the Zushi closet. He drew out his sword to cut the Zushi in half, but something stopped the sword from cutting it. A barrier? Suddenly Taichi started to cough up blood. He yelled at himself that it wasn't the time to be weak. One of the bandits, the one called Geki, glared at him. "Stay away from the Zushi, you bastard." Taichi's eyes widened in surprise when the bandit all of a sudden turned himself into a huge rat. Taichi growled. He did not have time to face a giant rat when they had to deal with the smaller rats at the Hyuga mansion. Meanwhile, during this, Naruto had killed the bandit named Garu while she was covered with the fox's chakra and in the one-tail form. She glared at the last bandit who was also the rat master. "Garu. No." Goki turned to face Naruto. "You bitch." Goki then turned himself into a huge rat just like Geki did. Goki knew that he had to kill that little bitch or else he would also end up dead like Garu. He made a weird sound and the Zushi rats started to attack Naruto. The situation didn't look good for Naruto. Every time she attacked, the rats only increased in their numbers. It wasn't long before the horde of rats covered Naruto, attaching her relentlessly. "Naruto," screamed Taichi, "where do you think you're going? Your opponent is me," yelled Geki in his rat form. Geki hit Taichi with his tail and threw Taichi into a tree. He coughed up more blood. With his giant paw, Geki threw him onto the ground and held him still. "You two are finished." "Oh no, you don't," cried a familiar voice from the sky as it sent a tremendous kick at the beast. Taichi opened his eyes and he saw his brother Kai along with Madara and Makuba. He felt a hand on his shoulder. It was Mizuhime and Takimaru. If they are back, then that means their mission was completed successfully. Kai was now glaring at the monster rat. "How dare you kill innocents and sell their children as slaves? Have you no shame for innocence or honor? And the worst of all, you hurt my little brother," yelled Kai. "This body swells with infinite energy of flames of youth. The unbreakable body made a Kai. The blazing flames of youth are proof of justice, and I shall punish you." This was said by Kai. The force of his power gave out an explosion behind. Madara, Taichi, Makuba and Takimaru just sweat dropped. How the heck did he make that colored explosion? "You know, I took him seriously until the last sentence with that power of youth crap and the freaky explosion," Madara stated while narrowing his eyes. "Taichi-san. Where's Naruto-san?" Taichi coughed a few times before answering. "She's, cough under, those rats." "What?" yelled Takimaru as Madara and Makuba eyes widened in horror. In its prison, Kyuubi felt the life of his vessel was in great danger. The great demon will not let his precious vessel be killed by a bunch of nasty little rats. "It's time you get more power from me," said Kyuubi. Kyuubi's chakra started to glow and a deep red aura started to bubble. Under the horde of rats, Naruto's eyes widened in pain as she started to scream. The air was getting heavy before an explosion happened as the rats vanished with a strong level of chakra. The red chakra began to take shape around Naruto, forming the indistinct form of a monstrous beast. 2 chakra ears sprouted from the sides of Naruto's head, as did 2 sets of claws around her hands and feet. 4 tails budded from the bubbling aura of chakra and lashed the air behind the girl like some kind of fiery whip. With a quick move of her chakra claws, she chopped off the rat master's head. Then she began attacking the sushi rats. The wave of her demoniac chakra destroyed the Zushi closet and killed all the rats in the process. "Naruto-san?" whispered Makuba. He couldn't understand what was happening to Naruto. Why had she turned into a monster? "Iniki, what's happening to her?" Takimaru cried. "I've never felt anything so terrible in my life." Takimaru wasn't the only one to cower away from the demonic storm of chakra. The demonic chakra made Kai sweat because of the heat, and Taichi's illness didn't help him very much to stand the evil chakra. Madara was feeling a mix of amazement and horror. He never thought that Naruto had this type of power. Was it one of her secrets? Why didn't she tell them about this? Naruto in her four-tailed form growled at them. It seemed she couldn't recognize them as her friends, so she began to attack like a furious cornered predator. Okay people, I am completely hopeless in battle scenes. This battle is similar on what happened in the anime, manga when Naruto become in his four tails level. If anyone wants to write this battle scene for me, I will be forever thankful. Makuba couldn't stand Naruto being in this form as she mindlessly attacked his brother, Madara, and Kai. They were getting hurt because of this evil chakra surrounding Naruto. Then something happened. The gem that he wore around his neck started to glow at the same time Naruto's chest started to glow green too. Makuba closed his eyes. When he opened them, they showed determination. He knew what to do. He made some hand seals and Makuba's gem and hands began to glow green as he focused on the light that bonded his and Naruto's body. Slowly the red chakra was returning back into her body. Moments later, Naruto returned to her normal self as her body fell limp to the ground. The smell of burnt flesh hung heavily in air. Makuba let out a long breath of air he had not even been aware that he was holding. He released the jutsu thinking on what he just did. He has no idea how he did that, but whatever he did it bring Naruto back. Needless to say Takimaru, Madara, Kai and Taichi were completely amazed and surprised on what Makuba just did. "Iniki, how did you do that?" Takimaru asked. His voice was full of shock. "I have no idea," he answered. "What do you mean you have no idea?" shouted Takimaru. "You just glowed green and then boom. You just bring Naru-chan back." "I just don't know, okay?" yelled Makuba annoyed. Makuba decided then that he was going to find the answers to these questions though. First thing though, he wanted to check on Naruto to see if she was alright. Madara was the first to reach Naruto. She was still motionless. Dropping to his knees beside the blonde girl, the Uchiha quickly rolled Naruto over onto her back. Everyone around gasped when they saw the damage that was done to Naruto's body. Her skin was completely burned. "Stay back," said Taichi as he pushed Madara away from Naruto as he quickly summoned chakra in his hands and started to heal Naruto. Taichi coughed several times as blood was coming out of his mouth. He ignored it though and continued to keep focus on healing Naruto's body. Kai held his brother's hands. Uto, that's enough," Kai spoke up. "Let me heal her. You're too hurt because of the demoniac chakra and the rat's attack." But Taichi still ignored him as he kept on healing Naruto. Kai growled angrily at being ignored. "Didn't you hear me? Let me heal her. I have tuberculosis, Iniki." He blurted out suddenly as Kai's eyes widened in shock. "I have been sick for months and I had Mizuhime bringing some medicine to help me with my cough and pain. Why didn't you tell me?" Kai was now in tears. Taichi just smiled softly to his older brother as he looked at him. "There is nothing you can do," Taichi continued softly. "I would prefer to die in the way I want. With my flames of youth at full potential, to see you happy rather than having you and Subaru-san sad or feeling pity for me because of my illness. Like a true Maida I want to do something useful before leaving this world." Then he looked at Takimaru. "Takimaru, I will leave my notes about how to summon water from the air and my otter contract to you. I believe you will be the best Sweden warrior this country ever see." Takimaru was in tears. He didn't know what to say so he only nodded. He vowed TP himself that he would turn into a great Sweden warrior not only for his country, but for Taichi. "Makuba, Madara, take care of Naruto and tell her I am sorry for forcing her to keep my illness secret." Taichi's vision started to get blurred as he finished healing Naruto. Taichi's body fell limp in Kai's arms. The last thing he saw was his brother calling for him with tears in his eyes. "Iniki, don't cry for me. Live and move on. Live with your power of youth at full potential. Don't let my death ruin your life." Those were Taichi's last thoughts before darkness consumed him. Naruto groaned as she opened her eyes. It took a moment for her eyes to adjust themselves to the light. She realized she was lying on a futon mattress. "Ah, you finally awake." Naruto turned her head in her left side and he saw Madara sitting beside her. She blinked several times. His forehead, arms and a part of his torso were bandaged. How did he get hurt? She didn't remember anything after the rats attacked her. Naruto sat up and looked around the room. She was in an unknown room. She felt her chest hurt as Madara forced her to lie down again. Madara told her they were in one of the guest rooms of the Hyuga mansion. They stayed in silence for 10 minutes before Madara broke the too quiet atmosphere. "What happened to you back there, Naruto?" Madara asked softly. "You went mental and tried to kill us all." I did? Yes, said Madara. "I don't know what happened back there, but somehow Makuba made you return to your old self, although your body was severely damaged. Taichi healed you and you have been unconscious for 2 days now." Naruto's eyes widened in surprise when Madara mentioned Taichi healing her. If he was the one to heal her, then how was he doing? He was very sick because of the tuberculosis. "Madara, what happened to Taichi?" Madara sighed as he avoided eye contact with Naruto. He knew Naruto might break down from the news, but she would have to know sooner or later. "He died from chakra exhaustion after he healed you." He saw Naruto's body start to quiver. "He told us about his illness while he was healing you. He told us he wanted to say sorry for forcing you to keep his illness a secret." Naruto couldn't stand it anymore. For the first time in years she cried. Madara didn't know how to comfort her. Uchihas are known to not be very emotional. All he could think to do was hugging Naruto and holding her while she cried into his chest. Naruto didn't say anything, but she was thankful for Madara comforting her. Later he would find a good opportunity on asking about the red chakra and why she has a similar gem that Makuba uses. Outside of the mansion, a funeral ceremony was being held in the backyard. All the surviving Hyugas, along with Kai, Subaru, Makuba and Takimaru, were dressed in black. They watched as the bodies of the Hyuga that were killed by the rats and Taichi's body were burned by the flames. Subaru returned last night and she was very shocked when she learned Taichi had been very sick for a long time and died to heal Naruto. The couple did not blame Naruto. In the end they were thankful because Taichi could finally smile before his death. Mizuhime and the other otters were sad for their loss, but they had accepted Takimaru as their new summoning. They vowed to each other that they would work well together for Taichi. Makuba was also in deep thought. After what he did to Naruto, he vowed himself to learn more about his own power. Learning more about himself, he would be able to help everyone around him better. The next day, Makuba was talking with Hayate, the clan head, about the alliance. "I refuse. Of course things are not going well on his side." "Why do you refuse, Hayate-sama? If you join in our alliance, your clan would get stronger and learn other abilities." "I don't know if you know this, child, but the Hyuga and the Uchiha has a very long history of rivalry. We do not want any help from the Uchihas for our survival." Makuba tried to control his anger. He hated when rivalry got between the clans, blocking their good sense, especially when the own clan's survival is on the line. They heard a new voice in the room. "I never thought the Hyuga would be a bunch of cowards." It was Naruto glaring at the clan head. "What did you say?" growled Hayate as he activated his Byakugan. "How dare a girl like you call us cowards?" "Because you are," glared Naruto. "Look around you, bastard. Most of your own family were killed by rat demons. If it were not for us, you and the rest of the adults would be turned into rat food and your children sold like animals. But if you join the alliance, not only will you be protecting your precious bloodline but also your family. What is more important, your pride, or the safety of your clan?" After Naruto finished, Hayate turned off his Byakugan and started to think. Of course he doesn't want to get involved in an alliance where the Uchiha were involved in, but after what Naruto said he found she made a good point. If they are attacked like they were 2 days ago, not only his clan all be dead but also it would be the end of the Byakugan bloodline. He made a decision. "Never in my years have I seen a girl as wise as you are at your age. What you said is true. If weren't for your group, we don't know what would have happened to our children," said the clan head. "Alright, I will accept your offer and join the alliance." Naruto and Makuba both smiled as they bowed to the Hyuga clan head. Makuba looked at Naruto and grabbed her right hand. Naruto was blushing a deep red as Makuba still kept the smile in his face. Outside of the room, Mizuhime and Takimaru had heard everything. The little blue otter smirked as she looked at Takimaru. "You owe me a fish, little boy." Takimaru's sweat dropped. It was the last time he would bet with an otter if Makuba would do something romantic with Naruto. Time skipped 3 years later. It was a beautiful spring morning. The sakura flower petals were being taken by a soft breeze. On the top of a hill, 4 figures were standing in there with a pride in their faces as they looked over their precious village. The figures were 3 men and 1 young girl. The first figure had a wild white hair. He was wearing blue armor and a dark blue kimono under the armor. He was wearing his white mane around his shoulders. The second figure had long dark hair. He was wearing the same type of armor, but it was red in color and his kimono was a dark red color. The third figure also a red armor, only his kimono was black and he had dark wild hair. The fourth figure was a girl. She had long blonde hair tied into a ponytail, blue eyes and whisker marks her face. She was wearing yellow, golden armor and her kimono was orange. Besides having the same type of armor, all 4 figures had a headband with a symbol of a leaf on them. They were Takimaru, Makuba, Madara, and Naruto. "When can we move? My legs are getting tired," whined Naruto. "Just stand a little bit more," said a voice. The 4 figures growled while a villager brought out a box camera to take a photo of the 4 founders of Konoha standing together. "But seriously, why was it taking so long? It's the last time I asked Mizuhime to take a photo to us," muttered Takimaru. "You never learn, do you, moron?" Madara ground out. "Stop that and just smile for the camera and this will be over in no time," said Makuba, trying to keep the peace between them. Nothing had changed between them, only now they between 15 and 16 years old, and the great alliance of Konoha had been formed. They are called the fathers and mother of the village as Makuba was chosen to be the first Hokage. "Say cheese," said Mizuhime. Puff. The image changed with the photo of the 4 together. Everyone was smiling in the photo as each of them got their own copy. "Time for ramen," yelled Naruto as Takimaru cheered with her. Both Madara and Makuba sighed at their childish behavior. Yep, nothing much has changed between them. But unknown to them in a few days, their bonds would change dramatically when one of them finds out about Naruto's secrets. It was a beautiful morning. The villagers of Konoha were very busy because they were preparing things for the festival. The festival was to celebrate the first anniversary of Konoha. In his office, Makuba looked through his window at his people working for the celebration tonight. Ever since they founded Konoha, Makuba felt very honored for being chosen as their leader. But there was a little problem with this. "Aniki, here are more documents for you to check." Takimaru appeared carrying a pile of paperwork. Makuba groaned. He hated paperwork. Every time he finished a pile, it was always replaced with another one that seemed even bigger than the last one. "Thanks Oto. Put them on there." Takimaru placed the paperwork on the desk that Makuba pointed to. He blinked when he saw a tiny black box on the table. His eyes widened in surprise. "Aniki, this is," stared Takimaru. Makuba blushed as he put the box inside of a drawer. But it was too late. Takimaru's eyes were shining and he was grinning mischievously. "Oh ho ho, I don't believe it. You're finally going to pop the question to Naru-chan. When are you going to ask her?" "Tonight during the festival," Makuba answered grudgingly. He hadn't wanted anyone to know until after he asked her. "Yes," cheered Takimaru. "It's about time if you ask me. I was starting to think Mada-kun would pop the question before you." Now Makuba looked confused. What did he mean by that? "Didn't you ever notice that Mada-kun likes Naru-chan also?" asked Takimaru. Makuba had not been aware of this and was surprised with this new information. He had no idea Madara liked Naruto too. They were always insulting each other. Did Madara like Naruto in the same way he does? Now thinking about it, there had been moments where Madara showed concern for Naruto, especially after Naruto turned into a 4-tailed beast, which Naruto still hadn't explained to them yet. Maybe he should talk to Madara about this. If Madara also liked Naruto, Makuba did not want their shared love for Naruto to ruin their friendship. "Anyway, I think it's romantic. A love between the father and the mother of Konoha," Takimaru sighed wistfully. "I think I will write book about this. Don't you dare write a forbidden story using me and Naruto-san as your characters, you pervert. Come on, everybody will love a story between you two. I think Saru-chan will also love a romance story between you two," said Takimaru, grinning as Makuba blushed a deep red. "Saru-chan is only 3 years old. He's still a baby, for God's sake," yelled Makuba. "Well, he kind of caught his parents making more babies," Takimaru mumbled almost inaudibly. Outside of the tower, some villagers looked confused as they heard some screams coming from the Hokage tower. They thought it was Shodem-sama beating his brother again for doing or saying something stupid to piss off their usually calm Hokage. They returned to their actives for the festival as the screaming still continued. Madara was relaxing in a hot spring at Konoha's bathhouse. He was lucky because the bathhouse was empty since most of the villagers were busy preparing for the festival. He wanted to forget the problems around him, especially the ones involving his clan. The old bastards were pushing him to marry since he would soon be turning 16, the age where the clan head has to marry and produce future Uchiha heirs. The problem was that he was not interested in any of the Uchiha women. To him, they were weak bitches that only wanted to marry him for the title status of being the clan head's wife. I would rather eat dirt than marry any of them, Madara muttered darkly to himself as he sipped some warm sake. There was only one woman who was worthy to him and she wasn't an Uchiha. The image of a smiling Naruto came to his mind. Madara would admit that as the years passing by, Naruto had become an amazing young woman. With her lithe frame, tan skin, waist-length blonde hair, big blue eyes, full lips and rounded face, she became as beautiful as she was strong. She was the perfect woman for him to marry and bear his future children. Yes, a perfect woman for an Uchiha. No one else can have her. She will be mine. Naruto was in her room preparing herself for the festival, but her thoughts were elsewhere. 3 long years have now passed since she had arrived in the past and she was still not any closer to finding a way home to her time. Though she had evolved a lot with the passing years, mastering her elemental chakra, the wind element, and mastering Raken's spirit fist with a monk she had met a year before Konoha was founded, but she really missed her friends though and often wondered how everyone was doing. Sometimes she felt the answer was under her nose, but she couldn't figure out what the answer was. She looked at her alarm clock and she saw it was 7 o'clock. It was time for her to arrive at the festival. Later, Naruto was walking around the festival. Since she felt a little hungry, she decided she would eat something first. When she arrived at the Ichikaru ramen stand, she got an unexpected surprise. Madara, what you doing here? Naruto asked curious. What do you think? I am eating. I wanted to see why you like this stuff so much. Naruto was in shock. Madara was there, in the ramen stand and eating her favorite dish. It was a really weird sight. And to make it weirder, Madara was wearing something that could be considered cheerful. A red kimono with golden birds on it. Naruto never thought she would see Madara wearing bright colors, having only ever seen him in dark colors. Madara smiled when he saw the kimono she was wearing. She was using a light blue kimono with sakura flowers printed on it. Her hair was tied into a long braid that hung down her back. You look pretty in your new kimono, Naruto. Madara complimented. Thank you. You're not looking half bad either, Madara. Naruto replied before turning her attention to Ichikaru. Old man, get me 6 bowls of miso ramen, please. Madara's sweat dropped. No matter how long he had known Naruto, he still could never get used to her passion for ramen and how many bowls she would eat. Sometimes he wondered how she never got fat from this but attributed it to her high stamina. Makuba was walking around the festival looking everywhere for Naruto. He was feeling very nervous but extremely excited about asking Naruto to marry him. His feeling had grown for Naruto over time and he loved her very much. The revelation that Madara liked Naruto wouldn't stop repeating itself in his head. He couldn't really have feeling for Naruto too, could he? When he finally found Naruto, she was with Madara dancing. From where he was standing he could see Madara's eyes, and they were in fact showing feelings for Naruto. He would have to talk to Madara about this later. Right now though, he would pop the question to Naruto. He'd waited too long as it was and he wanted her to be his. Hello Madara-kun, Naruto-san. Greeted Makuba to Madara and Naruto. Oh, hi Makuba, said Naruto smiling to him. What do you want, Makuba? Asked Madara feeling irritated that he interrupted their dance. Well, I wanted to talk to Naruto alone. There is something I need to ask her. Naruto looked confused as Madara glared at him for a moment. Makuba led Naruto to somewhere that would be more calm and private, away from the crowd. Makuba decided on a part of the woods, away from the festival. The blonde realized Makuba was very nervous and blushing a deep red. This act reminded her of Hinata in a way. Naruto remained patient, figuring he would speak when ready. Finally Makuba spoke up. Naruto-san, we have known each other for a long time, haven't we? Yes, the years now. It's hard to believe we went on a journey together and formed Konoha and you becoming the first Hokage. Naruto answered without knowing why they were talking about this. You have become a precious person to me, Naruto-san. Makuba grabbed a hold of her hand. Naruto blushed as she saw him drop to one knee and look in her eyes. Naruto-san, you are a very special girl. You are more than a friend and journey mate to me. Naruto-san, will you marry me? Makuba showed the ring to her. Naruto's body was quivering as tears started rolling down her cheeks. This wasn't happening to her. He wasn't asking her hand in marriage. She had to get out there now. Makuba, I am so sorry, I can't. Said Naruto crying. None of this is supposed to happen, you shouldn't have fallen for me. I am so sorry. Naruto could take any more, she ran off and away from Makuba. Makuba was now speechless, his eyes wide in shock and he felt like someone was fisting his heart and squeezing it to the point that it would break. What did she mean he shouldn't have fallen in love with her? Whatever the reason was, it left Makuba heartbroken. Unknown to him, Madara was hidden in the shadows and had heard everything. Naruto was still running without caring where she was going. She ran and ran until she slid on a rock and fell on the dirty ground of the woods. She hugged her legs tightly and started to cry. This wasn't supposed to happen. She likes Makuba like a bother, but she could never marry him. He's Tsunade's grandfather, for fuck's sake. She still had to return to her own time period. Naruto, is that you? Naruto was startled when she heard a voice suddenly. She looked to her right and saw Subaru wearing a yellow kimono with Taikuma, her summoning bear. They looked a little worried. Naruto was soon hugging Subaru as she cried, making both Taikuma and Subaru a little confused. Naruto, what happened? Asked Subaru worried. After finally calming down, Naruto told Subaru and Taikuma everything about herself. When I mean everything, she told her about coming from the future and being the Kyuubi's vessel, the Chunin exams, Jiraiya and the summoning contract for Toad's and Sasuke's betrayal. Subaru was very surprised by all of these revelations. She never would have dreamed that her favorite blondie was in fact from the future. Taikuma didn't seem so surprised. So, you're the girl from the prophecy that the shaman bears were talking about. Now I can see it. What do you mean, Taikuma? Asked Subaru. The 7 great shaman bears told us the 7 great warrior bears about a girl who would come from another time, becoming lost, but that she bears a great importance to history in our time. She takes something from our time to her future. I guess the girl of prophecy is you, since no mortal human has the power of time travel, stated Taikuma. Do you know a way I return to my own time period? Naruto asked with hope in her eyes. The bear smirked. Yes, I know a way, but for this you have to sign a summoning contract. You may have signed a summon with the Toads, but in this time period you can't summon them because you technically haven't not signed the contract yet. You have not even been born yet, explained the bear. Naruto's eyes widened in surprise. Now everything made sense. A year ago she had tried to summon one of her Toad friends, but she couldn't summon them because in this time period she still does not exist. The bear continued, snapping Naruto out of her thoughts. Callisto-sama will love to have you as our summoner. She always liked strong-headed girls like Subaru here. But I don't think she would like to lose you to the Toads. I know a way to keep the 2 contracts and be able to summon bears and toads. But what does this have anything to do with returning to my own time period? Asked Naruto, a little frustrated. Calm down, I am getting there, said Taikuma. You see, if you sign a contract to a summoning beast, you have the right of going to our realm if the beast agrees to take you there. I happen to be a beast that has the power to travel between time and space. Naruto was now crying in happiness. She now had a chance to go home and finally see her precious people after all of these years of being stuck in the past. But that meant she would leave Makuba, Takimaru and Madara behind. She loved them as family, but she knew she had to return to her own time period soon. Taikuma, Subaru, I would like to return as soon as I can, but I need to say farewell to Makuba, Takimaru and Madara. And also, I would like to keep this talk in secret. I don't know how much damage I did to my own timeline, but I need leave soon, said Naruto as Subaru and Taikuma nodded to her. They understood her situation. I will talk to the shaman bears and Callisto-sama that I have found the girl that the prophecy told of. After you say farewell to your friends, ask Subaru-chan to summon either me or Raiden, the monk bear, to sign our contract. Right, and once again thank you for everything, said Naruto smiling at them. Naruto decided to return home and rest. Taikuma returned to the summoning realm and Subaru decided to return to the festival and dance with her dearest Kai-kun. What they didn't know was that Madara was there the whole time. He could not believe what he had just heard. Naruto was from the future. Now he understood why Naruto never told them about herself, where she was really from and why she has that red chakra. Now she would leave them. Leave him. He was happy when Naruto refused Makuba's proposal, but he could not allow her leave him. She was his and no one else's. Screw Makuba, Takimaru, his clan and the village. He would stop Naruto from leaving him. Meanwhile in a bar, Makuba and Takimaru were eating some rice balls and drinking some tea. Takimaru had been very surprised when Makuba told him about Naruto refusing his proposal of marriage. He always thought she had a thing for him, but now. And she said you were not supposed to fall in love with her? What did she mean by that? I really have no idea, brother. She looked very nervous before she ran off. Said Makuba. Well, women are complicated to understand. I think it's a best friend thing. I mean, I've read romance stories about girls in denial when their best friends ask their hands in marriage. Takimaru theorized. Makuba thought it made sense because of Naruto's odd behavior. For once you may have learned something from those perverted stories, oh Tuto. Said Makuba as he drank his tea. Anyway, it's better you talk to her tomorrow, Aniki. If it's like those stories I read, something will happen to her. Like what? Asked Makuba, rising up a brow. Well, it's like the girls in the stories. They want to go away for a while and then, the good guys' rivals for the love of the girls find out everything and they kidnap them. Makuba slapped his brother across the back of his head. Baka, that's in the fictional stories you have read. This is reality. I doubt Naruto-san would want to leave Konoha because of this, and much less Madara kidnapping her to do the same thing the villains of your favorite stories do. Madara might be arrogant and prideful, but I doubt he would do anything like that, snapped Makuba at his brother. Too bad for Makuba, he never realized how right Takimaru was about the situation. Naruto was in her home wearing a night gown. She was writing some farewell letter to her friends in the past. She hated to leave them all like this, but she knew it was for the best. For the people in the past and for the people in the future. She really missed everyone in her time period. She guessed they would be very surprised when they find out she was in the past all this time. She wondered what kind of beast Taikuma had mentioned to her. From what she know, it might be one of the very few that has the power to travel between the time. Suddenly a familiar voice had interrupted her thoughts. Do you know that thinking a lot will only make your head feel like exploding? Naruto turned around and saw Madara inside her home. He had entered through the window. Naruto narrowed her eyes at him. You know, it's rude to come in a lady's house through the window without permission. Since when are you a lady, Dobi? Asked Madara, smirking when he saw her face contort in anger. Teme, what are you really doing here at this hour of night? Well, I saw you coming home all dirty. I thought something might have happened to you and Makuba. Is everything all right? Yes, I am fine. He kind of asked me an unexpected question and I kind of freaked out. But everything is all right, answered Naruto, smiling. I see now. I bought those rice balls, I thought you would like to share them with me. Said Madara, showing a box of rice balls. Sure, I don't see why not. I don't mind a nighttime snack and some company. Both of them sat in the table. Naruto immediately started eating one of the rice balls, feeling hungry. All of the sudden Naruto's body started to get heavy and she felt really sleepy, her vision going blurry. Naruto collapsed on the table. Madara got up as he took Naruto in his arms. He looked at her sleeping face. Like it or not, I will not let you go, Dobi. You belong here with me. With that, Madara teleported himself, taking Naruto with him to an unknown place. That's all for now. If you enjoy, then please like, share and do comments.